Good evening. Welcome to the February edition of Ham Radio Q&A. I'm Michael, KB9VBR.
And I'm Michael, KB9VBR. Oh, wait, Groundhog's Day was yesterday.
Was yesterday.
I'm Joe, KB9CJX.
We
happy,
cannot-
day after Groundhog's Day.
We cannot afford the needle drop for I've Got You, Babe. So we're gonna have to just push on forward.
Oh, that might be one of the best movies ever. But hey, good evening. Welcome to everyone. Happy February. It's getting a little warmer.
Yes, I heard that the weatherman said today. I was watching the 6 o'clock news, and he said we're gaining 3 more minutes of daylight per day.
So I realized this. So I have in my new pickup truck, the dash lights will dim as it gets darker, right? Because it makes sense. And it started about 15 minutes on my way home in December. And now I get into the driveway. So it's a 30-minute difference now from when those kick in. And I'm liking that. I actually come home and I can change and I go outside and there's still a speck of light. But you got to remember, in about 30 days, we're going to gain an hour. So,
yeah, almost, just a little over a month. So,
I'm ready for it. I really am. This has been a long winter.
Depending on which groundhog you listen to, I'm ready for that 6 weeks of early spring. So.
I'll tell you this, that one in New Jersey, he didn't die of natural causes. He was looking at predicting 6 more weeks, and someone said, Two Jersey boys took care of that guy.
Jersey style. So
they're probably Union boys too, you know.
There you go. It's probably, if they didn't find the body, he's underneath, he's buried under the Meadowlands or something. So
he's sleeping with the fishes.
All right, we got some people filling in the chat room, so we'll just acknowledge a few here. Our buddy Mike from the West Side.
Hey, like I just talked to Mike last night.
Hey, and let's see, we got good evening, KD9SX.
Well, remember, so I got licensed in 2014 and I got KD9CJX.
Yeah.
And it's now 2022 and we're only on the S's.
S's, yep.
Yeah. But do the math and figure out how many licenses that has.
Now, JT down in, I think, Mosinee. Bruce down in Northwest Ohio, you got snow.
You probably got more snow than we do.
Yeah, big storm rolled through the central Midwest into the east. Our buddy 45, I know he's been waiting in the chat to show up. So, and why Chai always knew winter was ending when it was light outside after basketball practice ended.
Or when basketball practice is over. Usually when the basketball season is done, winter is done. Except in Wisconsin. Yeah. Wisconsin has this one unfortunate situation. So I believe the first weekend of March is the Wisconsin State High School basketball tournament.
Yes.
Usually down in Madison. And for a number of years, it was known as the Blizzard Tournament because we'd always get a snowstorm the first week of March. It hasn't happened in recent years, but I think they still refer to it as the Blizzard Tournament.
Yeah. And the Paperwork Ninja is going to ask, so is everyone in the Midwest able to dig themselves out of the snow? So, us here in Wisconsin, we didn't get anything except for
the extreme, it's been cold. I think the extreme southeast around Milwaukee, Kenosha, I think they got some snow, but not much.
Chicago got some, and that was the extent of it. And then everything else is south.
Stay down there. That's what we feel about that.
I guess, Southern Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, looks like they got belted pretty good into the Tennessee, Kentucky, Carolinas. So it's
I think we've only had one decent snowfall this year, and I think that was like the first week of December we got like 8 inches. Since then, it hasn't been very much. So
yeah. And we got another Ohio check-in, snowy, slippery St. Mary's, Ohio. So we know where the snow belt. And
Right?
45 says, yeah, they don't have any groundhogs in Oklahoma, so they got to use a prairie dog.
You guys still
So.
have prairie dogs? I thought you eliminated all those down there.
I like that whack-a-mole game, where you kind of
I
pound the prairie dogs when they pop up. So.
think usually they take those out with a 22.
Got a couple questions here. I just sort of picked up right away, so we'll just kind of jump into them. The first one, the Chai says, a quick question. I need both a lithium iron phosphate battery and a charger. Battery can be your Sunday, charger the second week of March. Hold off on ordering the battery.
Whoa, now time out here. Where are you ordering it from? You're foreshadowing tonight's later discussion. So, yeah.
The batteries, those batteries, they usually have a charge, but they're only about 3/4 charged. So you're not going to be able to, well, you could use it ahead of time of the arrival of the charger. The battery's not going to, the battery sitting for a month isn't going to deplete itself. So you can let it sit for a month. It's not going to drop its voltage down to zero.
Spend an extra buck and get a decent charger. So. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah. And that's something we'll talk. Yeah, just stick around.
It's coming, guys. We got a tearjerker tonight.
After the first half hour, Joe's got a story to tell. You will not believe your eyes. So, Gary has a metal roof. How far above it do I need to place my antenna?
What kind of antenna? Are we looking at a VHF, UHF, or are we looking at HF?
Yeah, VHF, UHF antenna. Just get it above, just anything above the roof line will be fine.
3-4 feet above the roof line, I think would be perfectly fine for a metal one. Mm-hmm. If it's HF, try not to do that because what's going to happen is you're going to have ground losses. Basically, you're reflecting straight up, and it's going to be a sky burner at best. If you can get it away from the roof or get it high, and we're talking at least a quarter wavelength above the roof, it's sometimes it's not feasible. So you may be better off trying to run in a different direction on that.
Yeah. But just I'm guessing if you're a new ham, it's probably going to be like a VHF stick or something. So
you can put a J-pole or anything else. Just get it a couple feet above.
Yep. Metal roof won't affect those antennas much at all for a vertical one like that. So let's see. And I think I had one more question here I was going to grab. Madman Jerry, I have an 80 meter to put up in the trees tomorrow, horse fence dipole, and I'm hoping to get it high enough that I might need some more cable. Anyway, hello guys. So I guess it really wasn't a question. So.
That's all right. Needing more cable is a problem that we all wish we had. Oh wait, I need more cable. Again, foreshadowing. But yeah, I mean, if you get it high and you need another 25, 50 feet, again, I would probably recommend doing all one complete run. You can split, put a barrel connector in.
Yeah.
But you have a little insertion loss with the barrel connectors, and they go bad. So if you can just get 100-foot roll of coax, do your own ends, and then cut it to length. Give yourself a little extra in case you got to move your radio sometime. But realistically, if you got to buy more coax, buy more coax. It's cheap.
Yeah, that's right. 80 meters, if you can get it up, get it up as high as you can is always good. But really, unless it's a quarter wave in the air, it's gonna have some good NVIS qualities. So you'll be talking in state, regionally at night. Maybe some DX. The low bands are kind of, with the sunspot cycle sort of on the way up. The lower bands are a little bit on the way out. So it's they're going to be.
It ain't like the good old days, like last year when we had no sunspots and 160 was good.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. Yeah. Gray says he just bought a J-pole from me. So thank you very much, Gray. I really appreciate that. And Othniel is from Montego Bay, Jamaica.
Oh, Jamaica, man. Yay. Yeah. Good news. I don't think I even announced it to you yet, Michael.
Oh,
I am hoping to operate from Belize in June. We just got word that we're going down again this year.
all right.
So hopefully I can get Victor 31 Juliet X-ray again. And we'll be on the air. So I'll let you guys know. Oh, by the way, Michael, you'll probably need to fill in that week. Just saying.
Oh, you're not going to be live from Belize?
Oh, no. You can find some other monkey that month. We just had to send in the passports to get renewed. So hopefully there isn't too much of a delay on that. And this week I got to fill out the paperwork to get the reciprocal license. So the license to get a reciprocal license in Belize, it's like $40 in an application, and you got to tell them what you're bringing down.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to tell you the story. I'll tell you the story. So I went down in 2016.
Yep.
And about 2 months beforehand, I had just upgraded the extra. Mm-hmm. And I sent everything in. So I'm waiting. I email them nothing. I sent them a money order, everything else. Like, oh boy. So nothing. So I get down there, and we were out on Ambergris Key, which is an island off the mainland. So I take a day trip. I get on the water taxi. It's like a 2-hour ride on the water taxi to Belize City. And I got lost because the water taxi station is like 2 blocks away from their equivalent of the FCC. I ended up halfway across the city walking. And then some guy comes up. Obviously, Belize is a third world country, and he starts talking to me, and I'm trying to be friendly, but the guy keeps following me, and I'm getting a little worried, but I know I'm going the right direction. And I get there, and how about some money for my time, man? I'm like, I give him $20, I go away. And I go into the office right away. Like, I'm hanging out here for a while, so this guy leaves before, worse things happen.
Yep.
And so I get there, and the lady at the counter says, "How can I help you?" And I said, "Well, I submitted an application, and I never heard about it." She goes, "Oh, you're Joe." Yeah. How do you know me? Well, I mean, their FCC office is like 4 people. Okay. Oh yeah, the money order you sent, we can't cash that. It's a U.S. money order. Like, well, can I pay you cash? Oh yeah, we got everything ready for you. So I give her cash, and she gives me the card. She says, "We'll have the license itself sent out to the island for you." I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." And she goes, "Okay, well, let's get you a call sign." So she breaks out a notebook. Start paging through the notebook. Okay, B31JX. Yep, that's available. Here you go. We'll put your name down here. That's your call sign. So it's some notebook, and down at Belize City is my name. Like, wow. I mean, there's maybe 100 or 150 amateurs in Belize total. I would guess there's probably not that many. They probably have more reciprocal licenses out there than anything else.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'll probably go out there and see the same lady again, and hey, Joe, welcome back. You need your license again? Because they're only good for a year.
Check the notebook.
Oh, you're still here. A little dusty, but hey, we'll give it to you.
Well, with that, I got a lot of cards and letters. So we'll pull this up. Tons of QSL cards, because I've been really, just this last month we had the Support Your Parks weekend. The end of the year, New Year's Eve, I had a Parks on the Air activation, and Christmas Eve I did. So yeah, a lot of stuff just kind of rolled in the last month. I'm gonna see if I can. Whoop.
Oh, hey, that's me.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, that's better. Everyone got scared for a second there.
Yeah, this one, Scott, W8XDX. We've been trying to get a contact for such a long time. 2 weeks ago, he was in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and we finally set up a schedule and got him on 40 meters. W9. CGW, beautiful. He's working a Wolf River coil there. I kind of like this one here. Looks like Texas. That must be the hill country. I've talked to this guy a few times. Brooklyn, beautiful shot of Lower Manhattan. Springfield, Missouri. Beautiful bluegill. Can't a fly fishing card there. Of course, the obligatory license plate card.
There we go.
Yeah, Kansas, Illinois. I've talked to him a few times. Another Texas. Birthplace of Audie Murphy.
Oh, so, do you know Audie Murphy?
It's what it says on the card here, Greenville,
but
Texas.
You know who he is.
So, it says on the back, Audie Murphy, June 20, 1925 to May 1971, received every military combat award for valor available from the U.S. Army. Medal of Honor.
Highly decorated veterans in the United States history. They made a movie, and he starred in it about himself called The Hell and Back.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, tank, and, he takes out the whole platoon of Germans. This is required watching with my father if you're old. If it's not, if The Hell and Back is on, you have to watch it. It's Audie Murphy. He's right up there with John Wayne and Randolph Scott.
N3 GT. Florida card. Tim Scott. I know he's another guy we've been trying to connect for a long time and finally did it. And fire engine on this one. Nice ladder truck there. So Silver Spring, Maryland. I've been to Silver Spring. That is a beautiful little town.
Oh, very good. Quite the haul this week.
Yeah, it was quite the haul this month. So thanks for those cards. If I always return QSL. So if we make a contact on the air, let's do the final courtesy. So that was pretty good. Speaking of operating, though, I'm going to be out this weekend, and we were out last weekend. We'll talk about that a little later. But this weekend, Dave and I are going to do the Minnesota QSO party.
Ooh,
and
where from?
We're going to do a mobile.
Oh, really?
Yep.
In Minnesota or in Wisconsin?
In Minnesota.
Oh.
So we're gonna cross the border over at Wabasha, and then we're going to kind of work those counties down the Mississippi Valley till we get to La Crescent.
Okay.
And then scoot west over towards Rochester, and then beeline back up again to the Twin Cities. So we've got like a eight county route.
Okay.
And our goal is to put Brent's Hustler mobile whip on the air. So,
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We'll see how that works.
Are you going to be running in the Subaru, or what are you running?
No, we'll run in the back of his pickup truck.
Okay.
So, right. So he's got he's got a mount on his truck that he put on there last year, but he's never really used. But so we'll put the Hustler on that, set up in the front seat or back seat. I don't know. He's got more space in the pickup there. So
I hope he's got an extended cab on that. Otherwise, it's gonna be real cramped.
It's a 4-door. And we're going to use the call. So he got a special event call sign.
Really?
K0M. So,
oh, right.
King of Minnesota.
Is that on Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Okay.
Saturday. So watch the spots, I guess.
Times? What?
8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Oh, so we got to go out there Friday night, get ready. Okay. Well, that should be a good one.
We're planning to be on the air right away, 8 a.m. on 80 meters. So
yeah,
listen for us down, about that time. So hopefully either it's going to work great or we're going to crash and burn spectacularly. So.
Well, it reminds me. So, I mean, if you're working in-state mobile, you got to figure out a way how to get 80 meters or 40 meters because that's where all your in-state contacts are.
That's yep.
So I remember one of the first times I even knew about the Wisconsin QSO party. I stopped in a little town halfway between my parents and here, about an hour or so away, called Plainfield, and at the gas station. and this truck rolls in and it's pulling a pontoon trailer. If you know what a pontoon boat is, a trailer, it's an open trailer, open frame. There's no bottom on it, but it had two posts sticking up, and it had some wire wrapped between them, with the automatic tuner in a cooler mounted on the tongue of the trailer.
Yep.
And they were able to load that up on 80 meters. And they were driving right down the middle of the state, right down I-39 US 51. So those guys were definitely hardcore, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
So. And of course, I had 2 meters in the car, so we made a quick simplex contact and got that going.
Oh, nice. I got a couple questions here. They're all I kind of all sort of bundled together, but they're because we're going to be talking about one particular radio. So let's see. Alan asks, have you used the Xiegu G90? Will 20 watts be enough for sideband parks on the air activations? And I have not used the Xiegu, the G90, but Dave White, he's been on the show a few times, KZ9V. He's a big time G90 user. He likes that little radio. And
for the $500 or $600 that they cost, it's a lot of bang for your buck.
It really is.
20 watts is a lot more than you expect. It really is too. It's easy on batteries, so you don't got to bring a big battery along. It's got a lot of features, and I'm not going to diss a Chinese radio. It does have a lot of features, and the only thing is that you got to make sure you run an efficient antenna. And with the sunspot cycle coming up, I think that a X90, or I think Zygo's even got another one now. That's probably a decent investment, especially if you want to get into the portable HF and not spend an arm and a leg.
Yeah. 20 watts. I usually when I'm out activating, I run 50 watts. So 20 is not much lower than that kind of figure.
Like an S unit.
One S unit. Yeah. So that would be from 100 watts down to 20 is 6 dB or one S unit. So it's not that big of a deal. I think, and if you've got a good and efficient antenna, it's going to work gangbusters. Think of stuff like link dipoles, your end-fed half wave,
simple 20-meter dipole.
Resonant. Resonant verticals.
Resonant verticals.
Wolf River coil kind of things. Super antenna.
Stick away from anything with traps. You don't want to run a trap dipole. Try to run things that don't require a tuner. Okay. Now the caveat is I know a lot of the QRP guys run end-fed antennas. Okay. And so there is, that theory that if you're running QRP, you really don't lose much because, you're only losing a percentage of your signal. So if you're running 100 watts and you lost 10%, that's 90 watts. If you are running QRP and you're running 5 watts, that's 0.05 watts. Or whatever. So you're really not losing that much. But I say always stick away from traps and anything with a tuning system. Try to run resonant when possible on those.
Yeah, and this G90 does have a built-in tuner, but like I said, for your best bang for the buck, those resonant antennas will really sing with that little radio. Downside with it is it does have a tendency to get warm. So if you're going to use it for long periods of time, I think they've got a cooling kit for it. Dave uses he's got some of those accessory, just little computer chip fans that he blows right onto the cooling fins because it's got that rig has got poor ventilation. So just be aware of that. They do overheat.
There's a couple of different models out there, both from Zygo and I think from a couple other ones. Do your research and let us know how they work. In fact, maybe Zygo, you want to send us one? We'd be happy to review it. I'll be nice.
Yeah. 45 says, they're fine for activating. Hunting with only 20 watts will be much harder. I would tend to agree with that. You got to, busting those pileups these days. Oh boy, you need either a full gallon or a lot of skill. And Mike says, I got my G90 last March. First HF radio, works great for POTA. Alaska, Spain, other DXs with the NFET half wave. So a lot easier activating than hunting.
Yeah, I think if you
Yeah.
get spotted, on the photo page and you're activating, you're not going to have any problem with 20 watts. Spin through the dial, get a couple park to parks when you can, and have a good time.
There you go. And and then Othniel says, he's planning to take a vacation up in Philadelphia for 3 weeks, and he's going to take his G90 and the BioNO 14 amp hour battery. Any suggestions or restrictions that I should be wary of in regards to TSA? TSA does have a hard limit on battery size, and it is 100 watt hours. So you want to have battery, and I think a 14 amp hour battery is going to have more than 100 watt hours of power in it. Yeah. But now that I think they've also recently changed that amount, so we might have to double check the TSA rules. I don't have the website in front of me, but if you Google TSA lithium battery size or lithium battery restriction, you'll probably come up with the page, and it'll tell you what size battery and how the battery should be packaged in your carry-on. You cannot check lithium batteries in your, put them in your check luggage. They have to go on carry-on, and they have to be like in a plastic bag or something like that. I got a video. Actually, Dave and I made a video last fall on how to, how to sort of pack, how he packs his kit for flying. And so he had a suitcase with his G90 as his battery and a whole 9 yards, and it's TSA compliant, fits all the way through. If you look in my archive of videos, it came out like in October of this past year. You should be able to find it. If I get time, I can try to throw a link into the chat, though.
I have the TSA link right here.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and read it here. With airline approval, passengers may also carry up to 2 spare larger lithium-ion batteries from 101 watts to 160 watt hours, or lithium metal batteries 2 to 8 grams, which I don't think it's a lithium metal. No. I think we're looking at lithium-ion. So you should be able to carry 160 watt hours. Spare uninstalled lithium-ion and lithium metal batteries, including power banks and cell phone battery charging cases, must be carried in carry-on. So I would double check, maybe, do a little research. 14 watt hours or 14 amp hours is probably towards the upper limit on that. But with the TSA, they can change their minds any day.
Yeah. So 14 will probably fit. Dave carries just a 6 amp hour battery and a little charger, and 6 amp hours with that Zygu is enough to run it several hours. So it's so if you can get a smaller battery, you might be better than to take the big one with. So it's
right. We found out this past weekend that you can run on lithium iron phosphate battery for a long time.
And Dave's here in the chat, and he just says, recently raised it to 160 watt hours. So it's
there we go. Thanks, Dave.
Yep. And he loves his Zygu, 200 plus POTA activations, 8,000 contacts with it. So
right, well, for only $440. Dave's living proof, I guess.
yeah. He's so
especially if you're willing to run FT8 or CW on some of those, man, you can run that all day.
You could, with the G90 though. If you're going to run FT8, make sure you get the cooling fan. So because you'll fry an egg on that one. So, all right. Well, we're at the bottom of the hour here. And with that, I just kind of want to acknowledge all of our patrons and supporters here of the channels, because it's their support's really what helps keep us going, help us grow and whatnot. So first off, I'm going to welcome our new members. We've got some new patron supporters this year. Robert West at the friend level, Rusty N0KTZ, and Kate at the supporter level. So thank you so much for your support. It is greatly appreciated, helping keep the mission alive. And also I just want to thank all of our people at the producer level: Dave, Paul, David, Brian, Rand, Jack, Holger. They're the ones that really just go over and above in their support. for the ham radio Q&A. So
Mhm.
thank you so much. You can find us over there. Support the mission to educate and inspire at patreon.com/KB9VBR antennas.
I've been inspiring. Yeah, I send the money my way.
So, in effect, yeah, we got a couple. I know I saw a couple of here in couple of supporters here. I think we had checked in. I should have flagged them because now I can't find them. But yeah, thank you so much.
So underpaid. Really?
Yeah. newly returned for a 30-year hiatus. Unbelievable changes, but you've inspired me to get into Parks on the Air. So it's there we go. Well, thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Have a great time. Enjoy it, and don't let it lapse. Don't let it lapse.
No, that's for sure. There's 30 years. There's a big change. There's been a big change in amateur radio. So it's
since I got licensed 8 years ago, there's been a big change. This FT8 stuff, you young whippersnappers.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to bring. Yeah, Anthony might be bringing a small switching power supply. So, yep, power supplies. Yep, you can safely travel with those. So,
right. Probably when I go to Belize, it's probably just going to be a power supply. I'll probably work from the balcony overlooking the Caribbean. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we got ocean or seaside trying to share with my wife's aunt and uncle, and second story balcony out looking over the Caribbean. So it's real bad work operating conditions, guys. I don't know if you're going to be able to get me.
I think Alan, there's another one that's helping us out. So thanks a lot,
Thank
Alan.
You,
so, and and Mark had a question here about the Retevis RT97. That's their portable repeater. He's got a 12-volt, 16 amp hour lithium battery. What do you guys think of the operation time? That repeater runs maximum of 10 watts output, although some people say it's a little bit less than 10 watts, but we'll say 10 watts.
That's the UHF one, right?
Yeah, UHF one. Yeah. So we'll say 10 watts, just because then you got to figure the overhead for the receive and whatnot. So probably 10 times 1.2 amp hours of so 16 amp. You could probably get 10-12 hours.
I would think so.
Out of a 16 amp hour battery. So
if you're setting it up for more long-term use, I would say maybe some solar charger to go with that. It's not. I really depends on how much you use it, how much traffic's on it. I would say.
Yeah. That's actually that would actually be that would be pretty heavy use. Most repeaters have a duty cycle of what, about 5 minutes on, 15 minutes off, kind of thing. So
something like that. Yeah.
That battery will last all day and then some.
Unless you're our repeater here in Wausau, Wisconsin. Last night we almost burnt the damn thing up. So our net started at 9 o'clock, and I'm downstairs. We'll get to operating conditions in a minute, and I only had an HT. Well, net control is going, and I don't want to call it willful interference, QRM. Something happened. Open mic, and just the repeater. When we're running a net. It's a net mode, so there's no timeout.
Yep.
Issue. Now we have a commercial PA on there, and it's not running full power. It's close, but it's tuned down just a little bit. But after 20 minutes, this mic is still open. So at what point in time is it? I gotta kill it. And we have a kill code I can put in. So I punch it in my HT and it doesn't work. I got something else. I try that and it doesn't work. So, and I'm trying to get through to net control at the same time, but because I just have HT in my basement and there's some signal, getting in there that's keeping us open, he can't hear me. So I'm like, oh. But finally I call his wife and I say, Wendy, tell him to stop the net. So he stopped. And finally, I figured out with that controller, and this is something you guys should remember, you have to unkey for the controller then to take the DTMF code that you put in there and process it. Well, because there's an open mic, the PTT was never ever let off by the repeater. So B, you have to push the star key or the asterisk on the keypad. So I went back and put the code in with the asterisk and shut it off.
Then it took.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a like, oh boy, I don't want to burn up the repeater tonight. That'd be a bad day. I don't want to. I've had enough problems in my life.
Yeah.
I don't need to rebuild the repeater right now. So,
No,
anyways, we got to shut off. Eventually, the QRM went away. I don't know where it came from. I'm hoping that it was just someone sitting on the radio.
Probably something accidental. So
I think. But the thing is, it ran for over 20 minutes. Most radios have a timeout. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, thank you much, Dave. It's greatly appreciated. So we entirely grateful for you. So, and with that, you know what? I think we should probably move into our topic of the evening.
Let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah. But I've kind of built this as a very special episode of Ham Radio Q&A, and in the spirit of very special episodes and after school specials, because you are going to learn something, we've got an appropriate intro.
You better say that one. We're going to use that down the road again.
That's a good one. So, Joe, you had something that should we call it life altering?
Well, let's just say this. So I'm going to preface this by saying this: my family is okay, my dogs are okay, and my house is still standing. So I make jokes. That's what I do. I'm lighthearted, and sometimes I don't give a you know what. But in reality, I want everyone to know that in the seriousness of this could have been really bad.
Absolutely.
In fact, I was pooping bricks for a good couple minutes here, but in the end, everything turned out okay. So Tuesday last week, I'm down here in the shack, right where I'm sitting, and about 8:45 at night, and I hear this weird pop click. Don't know what it is. Kind of look around. I can't find anything. 9 o'clock, I go upstairs, get ready for bed. So about 9:05, 9:10, I lay down in bed, and my wife says, I smell something burning like burning plastic. My first thought is my wife's crazy. She is, but I get up anyways, and I get to the kitchen, and I can hear a smoke alarm going off. Great. What's going on? So I come downstairs in the basement because I bet you I put the smoke alarm down in the basement here a year ago. It was a new one with a CO2 and everything on it. And I turned the corner from my stairway to look at my shack, and it's on fire. There are flames shooting up from behind my power supply, going up the wall to the shelf above my radios and everything. So it's like you don't even have a second to process it, you know. So fortunately, I have a fire extinguisher right there. Like I turned the corner, I'm looking at the fire, and right on my left hand there's a fire extinguisher. Like, how lucky can you get? So I hit it. I got the fire out. Fire department was here. There's some damage. Michael, if you want to roll the pictures, bring those up.
Pull these up again.
That's so imagine where I'm sitting. That's what I'm looking at right now. I cleared up a lot of it. The drywall is still there, but everything you see on the wall and everything off to the side, it's a mess. It really is a mess.
Yeah.
On a normal day.
Basically, the way your house is configured, you just it's just a one-story brick house, so the basement stairs goes down into the center.
Right, you're looking at the basement stairs right there on the other side of that wall. So that's real close. I never got through the drywall, and I think that's one of the uh, reasons why I think everything is still standing. I think another minute. They say a fire doubles in size every 60 seconds. Another minute, I probably wouldn't be doing the show down here tonight. I'll say that. So
Yeah.
hey, it didn't. It didn't. That's probably the only one on the wall that. Well, there's two there. There's two there that made it. There was about 3 or 4 more there that did not make it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, maybe roll a few more of those pictures.
Yeah, we'll kind of advance a couple of the slides. So it's
different view of it. That's a big pile of masks up top. That's a terrible spot to put all those masks. Another 20
that
seconds,
white that's all of the fire extinguisher. You discharged the entire extinguisher on that.
So a 2.5 pound fire extinguisher, the ones you get at your local Menards or Home Depot or whatever. That was about 5 seconds. That's the hole that melted in the table.
Yep.
So another thing is, if you got one of those $20 ABC ones, get 2 or 3 of those. Mm-hmm. Another thing is, if you don't want all that powder, I'm going to say it, that powder shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the F word. Get a CO2. I have been vacuuming that stuff up all week. I had to go get a new shop vac with a HEPA filter just because the old one is just blowing it right out the back. Yeah. It's still all over, and it's corrosive. If it gets wetted, it will cause some damage to electronics and stuff. Yep. That's the after I pulled the desk out or the table out and everything, and the shelf was there. You can see where it started burning the shelf.
Burning through the shelf there, yeah, underneath. So
that is. Guys, so pay heed to this. Go back one there.
Yep.
So that's my FT88, which, believe it or not, I opened it up. I soldered a new power cable on it, and I had to kind of play with the fan. It did fire back up. I haven't put it under load or anything. We'll see how that goes. Because all my coax went back there. So every feed line to every antenna I have, except for a 6 meter, is destroyed.
It's all melted.
It all melted. It was just one big pile. So, man, it was the fire department was here. There was another part of it was it's me, my wife, my daughter. We have 3 dogs and a cat. Okay, in a small house. So they all get out. My wife gets all 3 of the dogs and the cat and my daughter out. It's 9:20 at night. It's 10 below outside. Okay, so they all go cuddle in her Subaru. Right? She's got it out back.
Yep.
And so I'm in my pajamas and socks, and I'm outside. I'm talking to the police and the fire department. And they go, well, you need to go warm up. It's cold out here. Go in the car with your wife. And I look over there. It's my wife, my daughter, 3 dogs, and a cat. I said, no, thank you. I'll stay out here. I don't think I could fit in there.
Well, some people got some questions. So it's basically it's. I don't think we talked about this. Cause.
So here's
the cause. And
I didn't send you. I didn't send you a picture. So what it was is, you see my down there. You see that power supply, that big Astron power supply. That was fine. That actually survived with everything going on. But I had a eBay charger for a Kenwood commercial HT that I purchased in June. And what I can figure is that noise I heard at 8:45 was the little power supply brick blowing up. The electrolytics blew up in it. And I didn't hear it. I didn't look behind there. I didn't smell any burning plastic or anything because it had been contained. It stayed inside the little brick.
Yep.
And so the thing is, with the power supply, it happened on the secondary of the transformer. So there's not enough current to trip a breaker. Think about that. Because, it's low current on the primary side, it's higher current on the secondary side. There was a short circuit somehow when it failed. and it got hotter and hotter and hotter, but it wasn't tripping. It wasn't pulling 20 amps. It
No.
wasn't going to trip a breaker. So it got to the point, I went upstairs. It got to the point where that plastic started to melt. And it got to the point where it combusted. Okay, so that was not a Kenwood charger. It was 4-1, but it was made by Kenwood. And if you've used Kenwood's commercial stuff, it's very high quality.
Yep.
It was not a charger from a reputable dealer in the United States. It was a cheap eBay one. I'm just going to say it was a cheap eBay one. I mean, I know everything's made in China nowadays or overseas, but sometimes pay the extra $20.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm going to say. The thing that was really scary is that night I had to call my other friends have the same HT, and I had to call them both to say unplug that damn thing, because that's I told them where to get the charger, because we all got the same radio without any batteries or chargers.
You got the radio at the same time, yeah.
Right, and so they all within they've all had the same one within 6 months. So I was like,
yeah,
unplug it, just toss it. When I find a new one from a reputable dealer, I will let you know. But don't have the same thing happen. I'm not going to get my money back from someone on eBay. It's 6 months. I'm not going to fight that fight. It's not going to happen. But I'm going to tell you guys about this. This is not the first time I've had a problem with electronics off eBay. About 4 years ago, I bought a battery for a Kenwood HT, this time an amateur one, THD7. And it came in and great, it was like $15 cheaper than what I get from Batteries America. Batteries America, a fine Wisconsin company that I buy just about everything from when it comes to HT batteries. Should have bought the charger, but they didn't have one. So, anyways, and I got the battery. I popped it in, and I tested it out a couple times. I set it back down on the desk, and a couple minutes later, I grabbed it again, and that thing was smoking hot. And I'm like, what the? That's not right. So I popped it. I took the battery off, and then I popped the cover off, and there was a dead short. It had shorted out in just the couple minutes that I was using it. Again, off eBay. So I get, you get some cheap stuff on there, and it works just fine. Don't get batteries. Don't get battery chargers. I'm just going to say that, unless it's from a reputable dealer, or it's an actual name brand. Made by the manufacturer of the radio, I would really stay away from some of that cheap stuff there.
I'm wondering, looking at these power bricks, now this one's actually for my camera, so it's from Panasonic, but a lot of them have, if you look on them, you get the UL or Underwriter's Laboratory marking on them. That's probably a good indicator that the device is gonna.
But here's the deal. If it's coming from overseas, they just put the mark on there anyways. You don't know.
Yeah, that could be. Really that's
you
true.
You can research it. You can contact Underwriters Laboratory or CE or whoever the listing is doing the listing on it, and ask them of it if you get a model number and stuff. But are you gonna do that for everything? I mean, look at how much stuff we buy on Amazon.
Oh, I know.
Stuff we buy on Amazon. It's all coming. Again, when I say the same, I'm not saying, I don't want to sound like I'm bashing China, but there's just a lot of stuff with very bad quality control. We've talked about foul things and what's wrong with them. Other people have had problems with stuff that this is real cheaply made. There's no quality assurance. They just are pushing it out because there's no liability for them. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
They'll put a different name on it and they'll market it in the same place tomorrow. So, again, so just be careful. Everyone's got these power supplies plugged in. It looks just like a laptop. So you got laptops, you got your iPhones, your iPads, what else? You probably got 15 or 20 of them in your house.
Oh yeah, all over the place.
Put them on power strips that you can turn off at night. Just double check everything.
Power strip.
I'm an electrician. You know how embarrassing it is to have an electrical fire?
Oh, I know.
No, good thing there was an outlet down there. That outlet was perfectly fine. The first thing I checked was, I saw where it started, and I started going back. I went back to the power strip. Well, there was no indication that the power strip got hot. There was no indication that the outlet got hot. And I'm thinking, well, what the heck? How could this blow up? And then you start thinking about it. It's the secondary. It's on the other side of the transformer where there's higher current, but it's not a lot of higher currents on the secondary. It could be 20 amps on the secondary, but it's only going to be a couple amps on the primary. Yeah, that won't trip your breaker. So yeah, it's it's a little it takes the wind out of your sails. Now, good thing is, I have the means to rebuild it. I'm not rich by any means, but I can rebuild this. This is not a big deal. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
My dad's retired, and he likes projects. So we'll get a weekend. He'll come up here and we'll put a wall up. Great. My daughter will have a good time with grandma and grandpa. We'll, 4 sheets of drywall, not a big deal. The couple radios I can replace. I replaced one already. My little FT2 just bit it. It was just so sad. You remember the Dr. Seuss books where everything just kind of sort of leans over like it's like a Picasso. That's what it looked like. It was bad.
Salvador Dali, the melted.
Dali, thank you. I love Dali. Yeah, she was melted. But the SD card in it was still fine, so that was
that's
great.
good.
So, I bought a new radio this week, and like I said, I think the mobile I can save. I think the 10-meter radio I can save. I can buy more Coax. They make Coax every day.
Yeah.
So they don't make houses every day that I can buy. They don't make families. So that's my dogs. I'll be honest. I love my dogs. So maybe a little bit more than the rest of the family, but whatever. It depends on the day.
Yeah, kind of bringing everything around, I guess. Just
right.
Food for thought. Smoke alarms every level of your house.
We bought 2. We have a small house. I bought 2 more the next day.
Yeah, I replaced the one.
3 more fire extinguishers, and they're all over now.
I replaced the one in the basement because the one in my basement was almost 20 years old, and you got to replace those every 10 years. So you may not, a lot of people don't realize that.
So here's another thing. Another thing to think about, guys. The little 2.5-pound ones are real cheap. Practice ones. It's $20. Go outside and start a little campfire, and then put it out. Because you know what, I had to fumble around with it for a couple of seconds. I thought I pulled a pin, and it was actually something else, and then I pulled the real pin and got it to work. If you got kids, if you got like a 10 or a 12-year-old kid, spend 20 minutes, build a little fire out back, and have them put it out. Yeah. Not a bad idea. We're going to do it this spring once we get a chance to get warmed up a little bit.
Those little 2-pounders, you get you get one chance with those. So
5 seconds. It was literally 5 seconds. So you got a point right at the base, and you got to be right on. And if it was anything more than where it's at, that wouldn't have covered it. So
no. So, all right. Let's see. Joe says, "Yep, time for an upgrade," and he's also glad it wasn't more serious.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah. We're really not upgrading. My HF radio was fine. The big power supply is fine. Ended up the amplifier walked into the shack this week too. It was the best price. It was free. Got to do some work on it, but we'll rebuild. And again, I'm not. I'm alive. I say that's back for saying I'm alive. Everyone's alive. We'll rebuild. We'll have a good time. We'll have a video on it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. So, but that's.
Yep. Mike's right. That's my wife's got a nose. She's really got she can smell something bad from a mile away. I can't. If I would have waited until I smelt it, good night, Irene. That's all I gotta say.
Yep. Yeah, and Bill says there's an acronym for using a fire extinguisher, and we should remember this from fire safety. PASS, PASS, and it's P for pull, pull the pin, aim, squeeze, and
I think.
Yeah,
we'll go back and forth.
Sweep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So.
Fortunately, like I said, I had clear shot. It was right next to me, and it only took a couple seconds. But
yeah,
but the dust that comes out of that thing is just unbelievable. So I'm tearing
Oh,
all the radios apart and everything else around here to clean it up. I'm using Simple Green, isopropyl alcohol, Q-tips, anything I can to get the stuff off. And it's like you wipe it down, it
yeah.
looks clean, and then it dries, and it's still dirty. I've emptied out the vacuum 2 or 3 times, just sucking things up. I got
Ah,
cans of duster. You can see over here, I got some duster stuff. Yeah, it's terrible. I hate
yeah.
it.
Hmm. So,
So yeah,
yep.
Bill had a pass. Pull, aim,
Yeah.
squeeze, sweep. There we go.
Yep. Yep.
Pull
Pull
the
the
pin.
pin.
There we go.
Sorry.
There we go. Yeah. I'm gonna put that up.
Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. So,
I
all
had
right.
rather pass or not stop, drop, and roll. I'll say that too. I don't have a stop, drop, and roll. I was expecting more of that when I was a kid. They beat it into your
Absolutely.
head, but I've not yet set myself on fire.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You almost accomplished that goal. So,
It's pretty close. Maybe
oh
there's a
boy.
parks on the air where that'll be.
Well, everybody liked the intro, so I got a lot of comments on that. They were
There you go.
expecting Charlie Brown to show up next. So
Oh,
maybe I should play that again.
There, that'll be the outro. So there, we're done with that now.
All right.
Oh,
Back.
you should have done the more you know.
Oh.
Next month we'll have the more you know.
See if we got some questions here. We got to get back on.
Right.
Cody was asking, checking in from Oshkosh, what's a good low loss lightweight coax for portable operations?
RG8X.
I use RG8X because it's relatively inexpensive and it's lightweight. For HF, it's good enough. You know, the losses are good enough, especially if you're not going to use any more than 25 or 50 feet, 50 feet
Yeah.
max.
You could use RG58 too, really.
You
Your
could.
losses aren't going to be that much different. It's lighter. It's not as durable. But yeah, you could use RG58. If
Yeah.
you're doing anything VHF, 25 feet, 50 feet's probably not a problem. Anything more than 50 feet with RG8X, you don't want to do VHF. But
Yeah.
HF, oh yeah, all day long. You put 100 foot of, get like 225s and a 50 for portable operation. You're
Yep.
set. You'll never need another piece until you wreck it. But
Until
then
you
it's
wreck
only,
it.
a 25-foot piece is only $20.
20. Yep.
So,
Then you get another 25-foot
yep,
piece. Or put new
that's how we do
connectors
it.
on or something. So, the weight weenies, those that are backpacking, the soda guys, they like the super lightweight stuff. RG 174,
174,
RG
213, and the real
two or
small stuff.
316. 316 is the real
316.
small stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're running QRP, so
Hmm.
it's their losses are very minimal, especially for HF. So, but yeah, for most people, 8X is perfectly fine and it's readily available.
Yeah.
And if you just use 8X and you want to buy some 259s, you get the tool and the die for it and everything. And then if you got to fix it, it's real easy to fix it too.
That's for sure. So that's the way I would go. Let's see. We got any other
Yeah,
questions here?
what's your wife asking about there? What's
Well,
Dolly Madison?
she's looking for the Dolly Madison treats. Well, she was figuring, she saw the special
Oh,
presentation logo, so she was expecting, it was sponsored by Dolly Madison and McDonald's, I guess.
the good old days back in the 80s when they still had ashtrays on the tables at McDonald's, when you could still go in the lobby, right?
When you could go in the lobby. Or the little coffee stirrers that instantly became cocaine spoons.
The coffee that could actually kill you.
Oh, I got a question here. It was a comment that was left a couple weeks ago, but Nadge asks, how safe are 120 volt generators the battery or gasoline style, which expose a three-prong U.S. outlet, but are not in fact grounded. And I believe he's talking about your outlets. Your outlets have got the three prongs on them, the hot, neutral, and the ground plug. But your generators doesn't have a ground point at all. So, but a lot of generators these days have what's called GFCI. So, Joe, you want to talk a little bit about GFCIs?
Okay. So, well, let's talk about what a ground is.
Mm-hmm.
So, a ground is a high impedance path back to the source. We'll just use a easy definition for that. So, in the event that there is a ground fault, so imagine you have a device that runs on 120 volts. There is a short where now the case or the chassis or whatever has 120 volts on it. That chassis or whatever is metal is bonded to ground. That'll instantly make a short circuit. Now we know that a short circuit is a low impedance because it's low resistance. It's infinite current. That should trip a overcurrent protection device, breaker or a fuse, what we call an OCPD as an electrician. And that's what a ground is for. So in the event that there is a short circuit, you don't reach and touch that thing like a drill. Like, remember a metal drill that you used to plug in the good old days?
Yeah, my dad had one of those.
Oh, yeah, they're great. They work better than regular battery drills, I'll tell you that. But, there was a short that something shorted out of there, and you grab that and it wasn't grounded, you would get electrocuted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because there was no way to trip the breaker. Now with a ground, because there is that short circuit, that current goes up infinitely, it trips the breaker, it trips the fuse, you're safe. Now we don't have a ground cord on anything that's double insulated. So now you say, well, this isn't grounded, it only has a two-prong cord. Well, it's because it's double insulated. And you don't need it on that. It's a much more safer design. So back to the previous question, is that the generator isn't grounded, is that safe? Yes. Yeah, I mean, basically it's a floating system. But what happens is that you still, have a ground back to the source. So in the event that there is a short circuit, that the breaker on the generator trips. Now, most generators also come with GFCI for personnel protection or for equipment protection. Basically the same thing. There's a little bit of a difference, but let's talk about GFCI for equipment protection because that's a little more what we actually see in the field. So a ground fault circuit interrupter is a device that will sense a current imbalance between the hot and the neutral. Keywords are the hot and the neutral. It does not matter about the ground. Okay? So there is a balance between 4 to 6 milliamps, a real small imbalance, like 4 to 6 milliamps. Think about that. That's enough to trip the GFCI. Now, a individual grounding conductor, equipment grounding conductor, will provide a path for that current to trip. It will. But if you had the situation where I talked about before, where it's not a grounded device and you touched it and that you got a shock, it should still trip right away because then there's more current, well, not more current, but less current going through the neutral, and it's going through you because it's a parallel path. And that should trip automatically, almost instantaneously within a couple of milliseconds, and that's why it's there. So you don't have to ground the generator per se. The system is bonded. You have both a breaker. You have usually on the new ones, you have the ground faults, GFCI. So you should be fine. So the idea of grounding it, pounding a ground rod, which, we do it every field day. Someone's like, oh, you got to put a ground rod into that. I know that generator pretty well, and it's got a breaker. It's got a path back to the source of the ground, equipment grounding conductor. It has a GFCI. You don't really have to ground it. Now, we also use a panel, and we have some distribution. That would be at the point where we would probably pound the ground rod, but for short, even a 4-foot ground rod we pounded temporarily isn't really a good ground, especially in sand around here. So I think it's kind of a moot point. You're better off making sure that cables are protected from damage, using good heavyweight extension cords, making sure that if you have rain or mud or something that you are protecting everything from that. That's going to help you a lot more than pounding a freaking ground rod.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that. And that's going to be a snippet next week.
Probably. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
I've had a couple of TED Talks in the past 30 minutes, okay?
Yeah. Todd's using 50-foot run of RG6U going into his KB9 VBRJ pole, and we're doing awesome. Great reports. Using it for you, and no one could ever guess it wasn't RG8X. 6U actually.
Whoa! I got a story about this. I've seen this before.
Well, 6U actually, 75 ohm cable will
It'll
work
work.
well.
It's like a 1.5 to 1 match.
Yeah, but if you cut it in half wave increments, it will actually, because of the it'll match up pretty well, 50 ohms. So.
Right. But if you don't cut it in half wave increments, so a young guy that we both elmered, great guy, but so he had a couple of Motorola radios. And if you ever used the Motorola mobiles, they have that mini UHF connector in the back, which is real close to like a F connector for 75 ohm coax. So he just ran it with 75 ohm coax, thinking that's what you used. And somewhere he found an adapter from a F connector to a PL259. Okay. So, and he was running it in his house, but he wasn't running a J pole. Well, he wasn't running one of our J poles or Michael's J poles. He was running a little roll-up J pole made out of ladder line, which are really only good for 15, 20 watts. But he's running on a full power Motorola mobile. And he tells me, it's working great, but every time I turn it on, I get a headache. Oh, no. I didn't explain that part to you, did I? My bad. Okay. I'm going to bring some coax over. We're going to fix some things in your apartment. And I hope you don't have a tumor. It's reflected power at VHF frequencies, and you don't want reflected power at VHF. So, long story short, we fixed that. It's all good now. But he doesn't run an antenna in the household. So. You get a headache every time you key the radio. What do you? Oh my God! You're getting a headache. That's bad. Just know. So the little roll up J poles, I have one. They're great to have in a go bag, but don't run a lot of power in those because they're not
10 watts. Yeah, 10 is usually sufficient.
25 max if you really had to, but not that much.
So, well, we're getting close to the end here, Joe. Joe, do you have anything to grind your gears? I didn't ask you that yet. So.
Oh gosh, I do. Cue it. I have so many intros on this show. So.
Hold on, let me find. Okay, here we go.
You know what really grinds my gears?
I just really wish that I had a technical producer who could cue those up a little faster.
I need the box with the buttons.
Yeah. So what really grinds my gears is the internet. I hate the internet. I hate social media. I got to get off social media. But you know what? I have so much fun sometimes. But sometimes I got to get rid of these groups on Facebook and everything else, and they drive me nuts. So, someone asks a question about grounding. Well, there's some actual individuals out there that are pretty good that will give you a very fine definition. There is plenty of publications as well. The ARRL has a great one. NFPA 70, National Electric Code, Section 810 is specifically about amateur radio. Really, there's a part for National Electric Code about amateur radio. Motorola has a great standard for commercial radio sites. And you can go online and someone asks a question and you can quote them, chapter and verse from the New Testament. But someone always says, no, you don't have to do that. Well, no, you can do whatever you want. It's a free country. But we're going to tell you the right way. Well, I've been a amateur for 50 years and I've never grounded anything. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, 50 years. I always say is that I've known people that have had computers for 25 years, but other than turning them on, they don't know what to do with them. And you think if you had something for 25 years, you'd be an expert at it, but you're not. So, and you can't fight on the internet. You can't have a discussion. There's no dialectic on the internet. It's either everyone agrees or everyone blows up. So it's like, well, I could try. I sometimes I do. I try to provide some sort of information. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong. According to my wife, quite a bit. And I very well could be. But I mean, I'm quoting a chapter and verse from sources such as the ARRL or something. And you want to tell me, well, my buddy got hit by lightning and he knows a lot about electronics and he wasn't grounded. He was fine. Well, sometimes I go buy a lottery ticket too and I spend $10 and I just replace the government. And sometimes I win $1. That's the way it works. So the internet really just grinds my gears. And as for as much as good it is, and there's people that put out great content, not just us. I mean, really, there's people that we aspire to be out on the internet in terms of providing content for amateur radio, and we watch those guys and we see what they do. We don't try to mimic them. We're not going to do the same thing that they do the next weekend, but we always try to keep it on the up and up. And but there's some bad stuff out there. There really is. There's some gimmicky stuff. There's bad ideas out there. And it's for as much as good as that's put out there. Okay. Well, step back. We blowing stuff up. We've done some stupid stuff. Okay, then we've done some gimmicky stuff. But just pick and choose. Really pick and choose where you get your info from. Do your research. It's good to have an Elmer. It's good to have a physical, eyeball QSO once in a while and to talk about this stuff because, it's La La Land on the internet. So. Oh yeah. That's all I got to say. So my gears are ground. I am tired. I think no offense, Michael, but I've carried the last 45 minutes. I'm ready to call it a night. So that's.
You had a heartfelt story. I imagine that. So it's. Well, and with that, I think it's actually where it's about that time to wrap it up for another month. I just want to remind everybody that our next live stream will be on Thursday, March 3rd, 7:00 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. We got some great stuff coming up for the month of February. Some good content. Yep. We were last weekend. We were at we did Winter Field Day, so that video will be.
We had a great time. And that's probably the most contacts we've made for a Winter Field Day event.
Oh, I know.
And we just everything worked out. Just me and him. Probably could have had a third operator. I think
we could have.
But just the way it worked out. So the video will probably drop in a week or so, I would say.
In a week or so, yeah. Cool. I like to try to mix things up, have something a little more instructive, and then we do the entertainment thing and the instructive thing and the entertainment thing and
So
whatnot.
are we instructing or are we entertaining on that one?
That is a very good question.
Probably no. Anyways,
This weekend, I'm going to be heading out doing the Minnesota QSO party with Dave. So that video will probably come out towards the middle of the end of the month. Mid-February, I'm going to be heading out to Door County for the weekend. Hopefully, we can do a park activation up on the peninsula. We'll see how
I'll be stuck at home with the shop vac.
Still. I should send you a link to a song I've heard that I can't hear you because the shop vac is too loud. So
I'm living proof. I really am.
All right. So like I said, a lot of great stuff's going to be happening. And then before you know it, it'll be spring.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So hope to God that the groundhog's wrong. So with that, we'll just sort of close things down for this month. And thank you everybody for joining us, showing up, great comments and questions. Really appreciate that. And looking forward to another great live stream coming up in March. So with that, I'm Michael, KB9VBR.
And I'm Joe, KD9CJX73.
73.